can't believe it's happening to me. I'm here again. I know y'all missed me. I was gone for a week. I'm no longer Ravi. He sat in my spot. I tuned in for 3 seconds and saw another man here taking my place.
And then you turned it off
And
like
I
a
was
child.
like, I'm leaving. That's
So
not
offensive.
That's not me. Who's that guy? Huh?
That's not. It wasn't you.
I
you're back
was
now.
chasing down a hurricane.
You were.
I found it
you
and I
find it?
scared it away. I said, "Go away."
So you forced it to stay at the Bahamas longer?
Yeah. I
I'm
said,
not
"Slow
sure
down."
I'm not sure you should be proud of that.
You landed with all that cool air and said, "Not today,
Not
hurricane."
today.
Yeah.
Just blew all that cold air out into the ocean. Get away from me.
Are hurricanes cold air or warm air?
warm.
movements? I'm
He's
pretty
saying
sure
I
they're-
blew the cold
I
air
blew
out
the
there.
cold in that would have discouraged it
It's
from
like
showing
did
up.
you guys see the guy?
Isn't it? But no, when there's pressure change, that's when it causes it to get bigger.
No,
No,
but it's the
it's-
heat. The
it's-
hot water is what makes it get
Yeah.
fuels it. So if you can
It's-
cool the water,
Then you're safe.
yeah.
Right.
But did you guys
That's
see
why
the guy on
that
Did
from
you
Florida.
share that?
No, I saw you share it.
Did I
and
share it?
You shared it, yeah.
The guy,
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think I shared it though. Anyways, maybe I liked it, and you saw I liked it. This
Maybe.
guy is. There was somebody interviewing this guy from Florida who's just like, I don't understand. Like, we got this military. Why can't they just take a bunch of ice and dump it in the ocean and cool down the water enough to where it can't keep growing and that storm will just die out? And like, it was just the most moronic.
great.
Like, just I don't know how he was rationalizing these thoughts in his
They
head.
put
They're just
underwater cryogenic freezers
that you just activate.
off the barrier reef. It wouldn't hurt the marine life.
No,
I
it'd be
mean,
fine. They like it cold.
yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it works,
Uh,
but maybe.
but
You
he
don't
was like,
think that there's certain animals that live in colder water and certain ones that live in warmer water.
I just don't think the colder animals would.
but
would
he
do
was.
it.
This dude was like straight, like in the trailer park somewhere in Florida, just
Wasn't
questioning
even
why.
but he wasn't though. Like he was in front of a. It looked like a decent house.
Oh, I thought he was.
Yeah.
Maybe I imagined it, but he was just like legitimately asking, like questioning our government and why they wouldn't just dump a bunch of ice in the ocean to stop Dorian. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. You know, usually I let everyone else go first, but I'm just get that out of the way since I, just went ahead and segued. Hey, Luca, welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining us. It's good to see you. No,
At least your tag.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you're right. It was from a mobile home
Yeah,
park.
I
I
thought
apologize.
so. I thought so.
The way that he was standing, it looked like it looked like a house, but
you
there
should
there
send
are
that
multiple
video
units.
to Kuipers and he
Yeah,
can play.
because this
it.
Yeah.
shirt's pretty awesome.
But yeah, so we had a family vacation planned for that time, and we like Friday we're seeing this hurricane bearing down and kind of freaking out. Well, actually Thursday even it was that we were seeing it. It was a slow moving hurricane.
Heading towards Alabama.
Well, it was heading straight for Orlando at that time, and that's
and
where
then
we
on
were
to
headed.
Alabama
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually,
via Sharpie.
oh, you're talking about.
Can't see how.
Yeah, you're talking about our president
Yeah.
who's geographically challenged. Anyways,
Can't see how.
but
Stop starting the video, Kuiper.
Not my fault. The computer's janky.
Oh, let's just stop and watch it.
okay,
Let's
yeah,
just
we got it already.
stop.
Yeah, just bring it up.
That is a
Some nice
gorgeous
mustache.
mustache.
All right, let's hear this guy's solution for the hurricane.
They haven't come up with some kind of way to combat these storms yet. They keep saying, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, oh, it's at this, but it's going to hit all this warm weather and warm water. We have a Navy. Why don't the Navy come and drop ice in the warm water so it can't get going as fast as it's going? There's got to be ways to combat this instead of just pointing at the thing and saying, well, it's now it's getting worse. Yeah, we know it's getting worse, but you tell us, oh, it's the warm weather. Oh, it's the wind. Well, we have an Air Force. Drive some Air Force planes around to get the winds going the opposite way. The Navy to go in circles to fight it the other way.
Get the planes to drive around.
Oh
Fly
my
the planes
goodness.
around the
Fly
opposite
the opposite
direction.
direction. It'll create the wind. It'll push it out.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
He
so-
sounds like he came from like New York
Yeah.
or somewhere further up the coast.
Jersey.
Because planes make wind.
Yes, they do. And if you fly in the opposite direction of a hurricane, it'll stop it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what
didn't you
Superman
know?
does.
That's where tornadoes come from. Is the planes that are circling
Oh.
because they're waiting to land. They cause a tornado that.
He does seem like the type of guy that Trump would just be like align himself with and be like, yeah, this guy's got some
this
good
guy-
ideas.
Get him in the cabinet.
And then the next thing
Then
you
he goes, well, actually, had we done that, it would have hit Georgia
yeah.
and not Alabama. So
Would have hit
I
South,
would have been right.
it would have hit South Dakota.
South Dakota this time.
But like
That's where all our planes are, in the Midwest.
the idea of like just seeing like Trump send out a bunch of planes to go circle the hurricane and then like some ships full of ice to drop in there. Like it would just be fun to watch that, like televise it. No, so we landed in Tampa. We spent a couple days there watching the hurricane move, and then the whole time we were there, the trajectory of it just kept like the predicted trajectory kept changing.
You just kept feeling better every day.
Oh yeah, and so by the time we got to Disney World on Monday, they're like, yeah, it's still gonna, it's gonna come by Florida, but it was like looking like it was gonna be offshore, and so Tuesday they announced that as a precaution they were gonna close the parks early at like 3:00, and it was
Jerks.
It was fine, like.
Did it actually rain much?
So that night there was some wind and rain, but it was nothing. Like it was like.
So you just like hung out at the resort or
well, like,
whatever.
yeah,
and
my
used the
kids were in the
pool
pool till like
Yeah.
7:00 that night.
It's probably
and
good
then-
like
yeah.
break from everything anyway.
Yeah, so then the rest of the time everyone was scared away. People had canceled their plans, like we thought
Yeah,
about
so a
doing.
bunch of people weren't there anymore.
So we had the park to ourselves for like a good 4 or 5 days before it started to get busy again.
Nice.
And yeah, it was awesome then because it was almost like you had a fast pass for every ride all the time because you could just go over and over again.
Right.
No, so it was a good time. I think one of the things, like when it got busier, it really sunk in, like with the normal pace of that park. Like I think there's amusement park people, and then there's not non-amusement park people. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Right.
one of
This
those
is
things.
really more theme park necessarily, though.
Sure,
I mean,
there's plenty to do there that isn't just thrill rides, and even the
Yeah.
thrill rides are nothing compared to like the craziest ride at like a Six Flags or something like that. Like they're
well, they're not as packed in, right? Because you got the theme stuff going on.
yeah. You
So there's more walk-in maybe to get
Yeah.
if all you care about is the rides, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, but there's some really cool experiences. I think one of the things is like you could wait for an hour to get onto something that lasts 2 minutes, and then. And I think if you are the type of person who that 2 minutes was satisfying enough for you to go and wait again, even a half hour or whatever, then that's the kind of experience you're okay with. And
Right.
And I think I'm like my wife's the person, she loves it. She could do it all day. I'm kind of in between. Like if it's there's
If
certain
it's something
rides
that you actually enjoyed,
Yeah.
then you're fine sitting there.
yeah, if there's
Okay.
certain rides, I'm just kind of like I don't want to wait again to do this. But there was some stuff that was just kind of one. I do not like Avatar. I did not like that movie.
You mean Pocahontas?
Yeah, Space Pocahontas. But they have this whole like Pandora world built, and it looks crazy cool and realistic. And they have this ride called Flight of Passage, and you get on this thing, and you're supposed to be flying one of the dragon things that they plug their heads into, the avatars. And you can feel them breathing under your thighs, like you can feel like you're on this animal thing. And it's this huge like IMAX type screen. You put 3D
Oh, it's one of
glasses
those
on.
digital roller coasters.
Well, yeah, except it's like just three stack. You're stacked like 3 high, and then there's like 3 rows of people, and these things just pivot and move while you're in front of the screen, and it'll like mist water on you, and it'll do like all these types of movements to where you feel like you're flying this thing, and it was just a cool experience. Like it was more popular than the new Star Wars ride, and that's been open for like a few years now. And so like with the first time we were there, the Smuggler's Run is the thing where you fly the Millennium Falcon, and that was open. That was like a 70-minute wait the first time we went on it. And then like after that, it was usually 45 minutes or less the rest of the week, and that Avatar one was like always like it got up to 120-minute wait at one point when we were
Well,
there. So
I could not
people-
do that.
Yeah, like I just so
I'd
my,
be like gone. I'll go sit by the pool while you guys wait in line.
well, and the thing
Yeah.
is, the one thing is, my wife is like some sort of like, so she's such a Disney fanatic. She has like all the tips and insider tricks and all this stuff. She listens to all these podcasts and reads all these
what
forums.
to do, where to go, what
And so
order
she's
to do
like,
it in.
yeah, you know, you can get extra fast passes if like once you use the 3 you get every day, you can start to add more. And like if you go in there, and she showed me this on their phone, like if you refresh this thing and then you do this thing, and it's like a little kind of a, it's not really a hack, but it's like a way to kind of refresh
Reset it.
yeah, and you get access to more fast passes. So
Okay.
so she was like kind of a pro. She's the type of person you want to go to those parks with because it makes
Okay.
it much.
Thank you for subbing.
Thank you, Luca DeBom. We need to fix that audio.
Why
I don't
is
know how
that
loud it
always
is for
so
you guys,
loud?
but that thing is brain numbing.
That seemed like that was actually louder than it's been at other times.
No, not your bad.
No, don't feel
No.
bad. Thank you for subbing. We appreciate it.
Thank you for subbing.
We have to fix our technical issues
Yeah.
where that felt like it just pierced a bullet through my
Yeah.
brain.
I mean, it was a. It was
The way that
I
Eric just
peed
gets those
myself.
headphones off so quickly.
Rowan said he peed himself.
Ronan, that's not allowed.
Yeah,
Anyways, I did
Or
want
if it is
herself,
allowed,
right?
if you want to.
that's true.
yeah, so the fast pass is great. That helps a lot. The Star Wars thing, I did want to talk about that real quick, and I'll stop blabbing about my vacation. As a Star Wars fan, I was blown away by it. It was so cool to see. It felt like you walked into one of the worlds that they have created. It's not like I kind of expected all the set pieces to be kind of plasticky and cheap feeling,
Right.
but they're like metal and concrete and plaster, and like everything was just so painstakingly put together. Like you walk up to the life-size Millennium Falcon, this thing is huge. It's just kind of surreal. You're like, oh, there's a Millennium Falcon. I drank blue milk. I didn't have to like milk an alien to get it, which
Right.
was nice.
It's kind of disappointing. I feel like that's.
That would have
half
been
the
part
experience,
That would have
right?
been part of
Part
the
of the
experience. I
experience,
feel
yeah.
like I kept talking to the staff. They're all in character, and they don't break character very much. And so like I'm asking this one lady, I'm like, because they're wearing long sleeve shirts and like all this layered garb that's supposed to be like what they would wear on this planet.
Right.
And I'm like, isn't that hot? And then they like acted off and like, oh, well, on my planet, blah blah blah, and give me some stats or something. I finally got one lady to be like, actually, it's really thin material. You can feel it. It's not bad. Okay.
Get one of
You're
those,
like, I just care about your safety.
get one of those interclosed air conditioners.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so I also did the lightsaber thing where you build a lightsaber.
And, did they let you bring it home?
Yeah,
Nice.
no problem with that. The TSA was prepared for it, and
But no bomb
You,
cokes.
you couldn't bring the Coke
I'll
home,
get to
right?
that. I'll get to
Oh,
that.
Okay.
All right.
So I wanted to say the lightsaber experience thing. It's expensive. I get it, but I knew it was like a once in a lifetime thing for a Star Wars fan to do this. And my daughter got to be part of it. She's a Star Wars fan, and so like it was kind of a special moment. And the way they do it, there's so much theatrics behind it. The guy that's guiding you through this thing is playing a role.
Yeah, like you're doing it for real.
Yeah, and I mean, and if you let yourself kind of get lost in it, it's a pretty cool thing. And I was like kind of feel myself getting emotional as I pick my Kyber crystal, and it's like
Right.
you're putting it in there, and it's like I got the blue one, and like how it knew to light up blue because of that crystal. And I found out later that I could actually go and order other crystals and
you
change
can
it, and the
change it.
color of the lightsaber would change
Okay.
based on that. And you're picking out all your pieces, and I don't know, the whole experience, it just feels very grand and exciting. Anyways, I loved it. I loved a lot of that. My feet hurt like crazy because my wife is a drill sergeant, and we were going everywhere every day all the time. I had blisters on blisters on blisters. But I'm recovered.
But you still had fun.
I still had a lot of
despite
fun.
your blisters
No,
on
yeah,
blisters
yeah.
on
I just have
blisters.
flat
Okay.
feet, so me walking for hours, 12 hours a day is not great. But I will say, so the little bombs that you can't bring on an airplane, I shoved. We got them and drank them. I put my empty ones in my suitcase, in our check suitcase.
Sure.
Right.
And when we got home, we had a little TSA lock on that suitcase, but we didn't have the key for it, so we just left it locked and not like locking the zipper.
Not
though.
connected.
Yeah. So when we get home, when we go to unpack that bag, it's locked. the
With a
TSA
new TSA
No,
lock?
the same one, but they had unlocked it because they have that key.
Yeah.
And then they zipped
They
it
locked
shut
it.
and they locked it because they had inspected the bag because it had
Did they take
the
'em out?
bombs in it. And no, they did not.
They let you keep
So I
'em.
saw this thing while we were there. My wife saw an article that said, "Hey, TSA now allowing the Coke things on it." Which brings me to my next thing, which is exciting. Hey, Kuipers, can you do me a favor?
No.
Please go over to my backpack, and there's a paper bag in there. I brought you guys a gift.
Aww.
Hurry, Kuipers. Everyone's waiting.
Kuipers, everyone's
Right
waiting
there,
for
right-
you.
Right there.
We have not told him to get us a drink in so long.
yeah.
He doesn't know how to do this.
He doesn't know how to
anymore.
get up and get
Just
anything.
get the paper bag out. Yeah, there's one in there for you. So you take yours, and then
You did. You seriously did.
yeah. I know Jeremy's not a Star Wars fan.
But I'm a
there's your-
Coke
But
fan.
you're a Coke fan. So I knew there was
Yeah.
some crossover here.
Nice.
So I got you guys. They're fresh out of the fridge.
Fresh out
You
of the
can
fridge.
drink 'em.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I want to.
Or you can leave it bottled and save it on a shelf. I don't
I'm
care.
gonna drink it.
But yeah, it's they're totally got it on the plane. It's not. It didn't
With
explode.
liquid.
With liquid in it.
With liquid.
I made it back. So
Well, I
is
mean, that's why
amazing
if,
right
if it's
there, guys.
checked, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
With most, I mean, with a lot of things that,
yeah, you can have
Right.
yours 10 to gallon.
if you're walking
lubes
Just
with,
thinking.
yeah, if you walk in with like a pint of liquor onto the plane, they're probably going to be like,
Maybe
you
not.
can't take that.
Yeah.
But if you've got it in your bag,
the TSA
I
took.
feel
my,
like it's too softball-y to
Yeah.
really be a grenade. You'd want this to be a little more baseball.
yeah,
You know?
but it's like a different type of thing than a
It's
grenade.
cool, though.
But like the TSA did stop me from bringing my lighter. I had a lighter, and they
you
said it
did
was
have a lighter.
for the smokes.
I don't smoke. I just carry a lighter in my backpack all the time.
Really?
And my wife was
Okay.
like, "Oh yeah, you should be fine with a lighter." Well, I guess because
No.
it was a torch lighter, I wasn't allowed to have it. So some TSA agent in Omaha has my lighter.
Yeah.
And I asked him to put it on their Instagram, and he just was like, "I don't have an Instagram." And I'm like, "Not you, dummy.
Not
You're
yours."
The TSA's Instagram, but whatever."
He doesn't have access, obviously.
So, anyways, I had a great time. It was good to be away. The one thing I will say, because of that, I brought my Switch, and I thought, well, maybe I'll play some Fire Emblem because I still had to finish that game up. And
You had no time or energy.
I had a little bit of time here and there,
But
but
no
I
energy.
kind of just. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a vacation from everything that I
Yeah.
usually do. Like, 'cause sometimes video games to me start to feel like work because I want to play them for the show,
Yeah.
so I can talk about them. And like that part, sometimes it sucks the joy out of it. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna like chill. I don't even want to feel like I have to play a game.
Yeah.
And so it was nice. It was a
Right.
great, real vacation from everything, from work, from video games, from carrying. I didn't even really catch up on like news until I was on the plane flying back. I was like, I'm gonna pay $8 for internet because I feel deprived from all the news that's happening.
Right.
But yeah, I'm back. I'm plugged back in. I tried to play Control. I started Control. I started Astral Chain. I'm not far in any of them. I got Borderlands coming out tomorrow. The Gears of War 5 is free with Game Pass. I haven't
Yep.
even
Yeah.
started that. I heard Jeremy say before we started the show that he beat it already.
Well, I did.
It seems like
Are we
it's
talking
short.
about this? Are we doing this?
Let's talk about
So
it.
there are so many games right now. and
yeah.
I'm
Do we wanna
freaking
talk
out.
about
I'm having
Gears?
Kyle level anxiety about
Yeah.
video
I
games
know.
right now. It is.
It's the worst,
scary.
isn't it?
I'm-
you already
It's like
said
you wanna
Borderlands
play
is
all of
tomorrow.
them. Yeah,
I haven't. I don't know what to do. I got to play them all
and
somehow.
there's you got to try and figure out a way to sneak the time in, and then you've got all these other games that are coming throughout the rest of this month and then into the fall.
Zelda's
it's just-
the next Friday.
Yep.
The new Zelda, and I felt like
It is
Fire
really.
Em-
I totally blinked. That went
yeah,
through my memory.
yeah, it's on the 20th. Then
So excited for that
like
one.
Fire Emblem, I will admit, felt like it's getting a little long in the tooth. Like it's.
How far into it are you?
I think I'm like 3/4 of the way.
But
through
it's
the game.
probably because there's other games coming. Like you
yeah,
want to,
and I think I
you
just
want to set it aside.
But it also, like I think I mentioned before, it was getting repetitive in
Yeah.
some ways. And so I'm like, I really want to see that through. But now I'm like, I don't know what to do because Control, I would like to say, is really freaking cool.
I've heard only mostly good things
It
about
starts out a little weak. because you don't realize what you can do, and then as it starts to kind of give you your real like telekinesis powers and stuff like that, it opens up to this whole other type of game, and it's really cool. I've only played it for a couple hours though, so I'm not prepared to really talk about it.
I've been waiting for it. I've finally got the notice that it's in the mail for me. So
all right, I only played.
It's a chug at the beginning.
I've heard that the game may not necessarily be performing as well on all the consoles.
So that's one thing I was researching a lot because I kind of wanted it on PC, but I do like to get things on Xbox just because I have 2 Xboxes in my household, and so sometimes my kids are playing on my PC. It's nice to just be able to go to the Xbox or whatever. And I was like, I don't know if I want to buy it on Xbox though. If it's not, so Digital Foundry is a great YouTube channel if you're ever curious about performance issues on which consoles and versus PC and console gaming and stuff like that, and they do really in-depth videos. And I mean, they came to the conclusion that like, yes, on the base model PlayStation, the base model Xbox, it is going to be chuggy when there's a lot of action happening. And then on the PS4 Pro, and it's better. Xbox One X is the best for console performance.
That's what I've heard.
But I was I know my wife listens to this podcast, so whatever. But I didn't do anything. I just sat there and pondered it until I saw the cost. But I was like, everybody's talking about these RTX cards because this game actually really takes advantage of ray tracing on PC, which I mean, some like Battlefield kind of did and some other games, but they said that this one there's a Digital Foundry video on this where they show the differences when it's on and off, and they go really, really in depth. It's like a 30-minute video, and I like went to Newegg and I'm like searching costs for I think I was looking at the RTX 2080.
Don't you then
Ti.
want at least a 4K monitor too?
No, because it runs bad on that because you need 1080. It actually looks smoother because it's not. Right. But I mean, it would look great on a 4K if you had the powerful enough card. So I was looking at the RTX 2080 Ti. That card is like over $1,000, and I'm just like, there is no way in the world I could justify this anyway. No how.
Nope.
And
especially after that very expensive trip.
Don't remind me of that.
For some Cokes that I'm going to enjoy right
now. I hope
now.
you enjoy that Coke, Kyle. It's very expensive.
This could have been a video card. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But anyways,
that's insane though that they're that expensive for a video card for your computer. Like that's
nuts.
You could basically buy a computer for that.
So I just settled on the Xbox One. I have an Xbox One X, and it seems to be running fine on that for me at 30 frames. But if I kind of but it doesn't have any of the ray tracing because these current consoles don't do that. But
yeah, I've heard that the Xbox One X is the way to go if you are playing it on console, which of course I had selected it on PlayStation when I first put it into my queue a long time ago on GameFly, so that's what's coming. I guess they put out a patch the other day that's supposed to have helped it, but it still is sluggish.
I still think
comparatively,
if you're going to play it on one of the base consoles, you're probably better off on the PS4. Because, I mean, only because it's actually going to output to 1080p, where the Xbox One is putting out at 900p, and then it's kind of like scaling up.
It just sounds like it really had some issues chugging on PlayStation originally, so we'll see if that actually helps it. But I'm excited to play it. I've heard only good things about it.
But if you don't want to be tempted by an RTX card, don't look at this stuff. But the things that this game is doing graphically is crazy, because it's like not only the way that it uses light in the game, but the way that it uses real-time reflections and stuff like that. A lot of times a game has a mirror in it or a puddle and you see a reflection.
Right.
But this will even show the subtle reflections of there's office suites in this building and there's glass windows on each one, and you'll just see the subtle reflection of you in that window because windows are reflective, and it's still transparent, but it's I don't know, it's just the way that it does it, the way that it the environments, when you look at something and you see shadows and light and you see that hey, that there's red carpet, and the red carpet's reflecting on the steel table leg because it can reflect the light. It's just all those details that if
that
you really
usually don't.
Well, and the
see.
way you can interact with the environment too,
yeah.
and the way the way you can destruct things
Mm-hmm.
is pretty impressive to see.
Yeah.
Even the walls
Yeah.
and the like I spent time just literally going around trying to see how I could damage things in the environment. And there's certain things that you notice, oh, I can't get rid of that particular element,
Yeah.
but everything else, I can. And like one thing, the American flags don't move at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's I thought it was so bizarre.
Weird.
All the stuff around it you could smash.
That's always
The American
weird.
flags, you can't.
Maybe that-
it's obviously
maybe that's
an
intentional.
intentional. It's obviously an intentional.
I always
thing.
find it interesting when you're looking at a game and the way that it will do the thing. Like you're talking about how there's like certain reflections and whatnot. I mean, there's even games that you play and I always find it weird when you don't even see yourself in a reflection in the mirror as you walk by it.
I always judge games on that.
yeah.
If I don't see myself in the mirror, I immediately like docket points.
Oh yeah,
in my
that's
head.
that's especially when you have like the game and you go into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, you put mirrors on the wall. Come on.
And how is it that that's one of the few things that I remember from Prey?
Yeah.
That was something that as we wandered in, there's no option there for seeing yourself. So
Yeah. But I think besides the like really cool ray tracing stuff that this game could do if you have $1 million PC, the gameplay in itself is really just
yeah, I've heard
really innovative, really fun. The way that I just got my first telekinesis power, and the way that you can it feels so natural to just pick something up and just launch it.
The shooting play though is
the gunplay isn't great from what I've experienced. I am curious how the guns
Hopefully
will
it gets
develop,
better.
because you can
Yeah.
the gun will kind of evolve into other
Yeah.
weapons and stuff, but. We haven't played a lot of that. I don't think you guys, Jeremy, you just dived into it.
I've just dived into it.
Kyle, you haven't
I've
because I just got it on
yeah.
GameFly I think 2 days
but
ago.
you both have played Gears 5, right?
Yeah.
yes.
I played the beta, the multiplayer beta, which it was fine. It was whatever.
It was Gears.
It was
right?
Gears, but
for me, I'm not looking for anything multiplayer with this. I don't know if that's something that the series
I
has
tried.
had before. I've never
It's always had
played
it.
I've never played any of this. I tried to play a couple months ago the first one, and it just, even though it was the remastered version, it was so much. It just felt like an older, slower game. I just couldn't get into it. This game's been pretty good. It seems like it's really quick. I don't think it's a very long campaign.
So they say it's longer than the others.
Really?
Yeah, it's 3 and 4 were 8 to 10 hours total gameplay if you played through it, but you could do it in 6 if that's all you did.
Right.
This one they're saying you could blow through it in 8 if you didn't care about any of the side missions or any of those any of the upgrades to to what you have available to you.
Right.
But it's more of a 10 to 12 hour game, so it's a couple hours longer.
Yeah, I think when I looked up how long to beat, it said that it was about an 11-hour game.
Jeremy, you finished it?
I did finish it. Yeah, I finished the campaign, and I will say I played all of the secondary missions. I'm not sure my hours in. I'm sure someone could go to the Xbox and find that. But
What do you think? You liked it then?
I've always liked the Gears campaigns. Yeah. It's very good. I enjoy the story that they tell. They're very obvious that Gears 6 is in the works at the end of it from a storyline. There is something towards the end that throws you for a loop. I won't give it away, but I was torn initially when it happened, and the more I've thought about it, I'm like, no, that was good. That was good. So,
See, and I don't know if I would be torn because there's some stuff with
you
the story
you don't
that
know
I'm
the
kind of
whole
lost.
story, right?
Yeah.
You haven't gone through the
I
other
need
games.
to go look Wikipedia or find the stories on YouTube or something to get some of the back.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
I've
could
got
watch
some
all
of
the
the
cut
general
scenes or whatever.
Because
I would say you definitely want to play 4 before you play this, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This
Have you not
is
played
definitely
4?
I haven't played 4. No.
both 3 and 4 have the same.
Not
char-
3.
Doesn't it have the same character?
No. Well, it does, but all of them had the same character.
Well,
but I'm
'cause,
talking
yeah,
about
the
the story arc starts of this one is with 4.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because it ended with 3, and then there was
Right.
that terrible Judgment game that nobody liked. And then
Because the guy in the top corner over her shoulder, he was the main like your main
One
character
of the 4 main ones.
during at least the first game, right?
Talking about Dom?
No,
not Dom.
that's,
That's Marcus.
it's
Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah.
JD's dad.
Well, yeah, Marcus Phoenix. He's the
Yeah.
he's the
Dom.
Gears of War. Him and Dom were like the main guys from the
Yeah.
first games. So like that's and then when 4 comes out, I mean this is kind of like a
That's where
reboot. And
right.
so his son is
He's the one
kind
in
of
the bottom
main
right.
Right.
protagonist.
Yep.
And so that's where the game starts. So I feel like, I mean, at least you probably want to at least watch a recap of 4. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not going to play
I kind of
because-
read through some of what the storyline was. So I think and they do play a recap before, like at the beginning of the game.
Oh, okay.
Of
A little
what happened
bit of the ending of the other
that
one.
told
yeah.
me enough to give me the context of kind of where some of the stuff was.
Yeah.
It's so there's obviously I'm still lost with some things, but I mean it's not detracting from the game for me.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of interested to see where it goes. I did hear I read somewhere, and after I played it, I kind of agree that the open world that kind of opens up to you, it feels very empty, and like there's not really a point of having it be an open world in the same way. And maybe it's because I haven't.
It's a transitional thing.
Yeah, it feels like it's just kind of there as a little bit of fluff. And they could have just siphoned you through a track the way that a lot of like campaign type of games are set up.
I think part of the reason for that, though, they added something that they had in previous games, but not to the same extent. This one has a lot more things you can find that give you lore and back information.
Right.
And so part of the vastness of that space that you're talking about is because if you want to spend time
Right.
hunting for those things, the treasures, and then using that to read more about the lore, because you find all these old documents and things like that that give you back information. And so you could spend a lot longer in the game if you did that. And there's like 150 plus things that you can find. And I think when I finished it, and I did all the secondary missions, and I also, Jack the robot, I believe I almost 100% fully upgraded him.
Jeez.
And so I
you
did
like
do
this
a
game. I think
so
you like
I like
this
the campaign,
game.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll talk about multiplayer in a minute, but no, I definitely like this game. I think it's one of the better first-person shooter story games.
I mean third.
Third. I get God View, but shooter games out there, from a story perspective.
Yeah.
So, no. So I did want to talk a little bit about the. I've never been a fan of their style of in and out from cover in this game, and the way that you run, how you always hunker down and move towards something.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the multiplayer, it's kind of janky to me. And I think all of their PvP multiplayer is very much a shotgun game, 100%. And that's like the thing in other PvP games that I don't like is when it's shotguns only.
Well, it's
And
not,
when you play
there's
that,
just not
it's
a way
not.
to play at long range.
There's just not.
I mean, you can,
and,
but it doesn't.
And the
work
shotgun
real.
is just significantly overpowered over
Yeah.
other things. So it really becomes how quickly can you transition and do that. Which there's some skill in that. It's just not something I find enjoyable. However, I do enjoy the horde modes, where you're collaborative with other players
Yeah.
against waves of.
They were the first to do
Vegas.
that.
They are.
They're-
Yeah, I
Ge-
believe so.
Gears
Yeah.
2 or 3, that was like they're
And
the
that's
first to
great.
make a horde
and
mode.
I really like it. So
Isn't that what they kind of showed off at E3 this year? What was that mode that they had
that's
where?
the,
That was something else, I think.
Because it seemed like it was like a survival, almost like a zombies wannabe type of thing.
Oh no, that was their horde mode. Yeah. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. They were the first to do that.
Okay,
Like,
so
that
it's not that that's something that's anything new. It's just there's probably
I
some
think
kind of
they've probably iterated
new
on
tweak
it.
or something that.
yeah.
Okay.
Because like a lot of, I think it was Gears 2 that was the first to have the horde mode in it, and
Probably.
like,
Could be.
and then you just started to see a lot of games kind of take that on. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Jeremy, on the multiplayer. Like I said, I only played the multiplayer beta of this, and I was kind of having fun with it at times, but it depended on kind of on the map that I had and like
Sure.
which. But yeah, you're right. That's not. I think they do really good at making really cool set pieces in when they do
their
like,
environment's
the
really
campaign and
cool.
the way
Yeah.
the set pieces
Their
play
maps
out,
are
like,
interesting.
well, like, and the story kind of plays out like a movie sometimes. Like
It looks
you're like
good.
playing through these cutscenes that feel
Yeah.
like you're a part of them, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I'm excited to jump into it. I have not yet. I don't even know what to do because Borderlands 3 is out tomorrow,
It's crazy, man.
which
It's going to
I'm
take
hearing-
over my life for a while.
I'm hearing good things
right?
about it. It seems like, despite their crazy business and the guy that runs that show being a crazy magician, it sounds like the game maybe turned out okay. It's more Borderlands, it appears, from what the
like,
reviews are saying.
All the reviews I've seen that have said negative stuff is that they're giving it a negative score because it's more of what we've already had.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what we want, though.
I mean, if you're giving the
mean-
people what they want, I want it to be. I was
haven't
hoping.
I
played
want it
the
to have
first two either.
some new twist. We'll see.
I like
hoping
jumping
it's-
into series like multiple games in.
Yes, you do.
I don't
You're
know.
like, forget the
I think
first
some-
two.
you know what,
Now
I
that
think
it's been proven, I'll
But
play
I think
the
some
new
of it
one.
is some of these series have been around for a while, and it was just like at times that I didn't have a console or whatever, and so then the second one came out, and I'm like, I don't really care. And the further I've gotten into playing games, the more I'll see things, and I'm like, man, that looks like that'd be really cool, and want to jump in. So thus, I'm in Gears 5 and jumping into the
Yeah.
new game that's out tomorrow too.
I think that the interesting thing for me with Borderlands is that they, like with 1 and 2, they kind of set this tone for what inevitably Destiny became.
Oh yeah,
And-
I can see
and
that.
So I think that going into hearing about Borderlands 3, almost expected them to kind of make it more like Destiny, is what I assumed. And then the more we saw about it, it's like, no. This is still just Borderlands. You can still play with people. You can still play co-op, but it's not going to be an online game. It's not going to be, there's not going to be a hub world. There's not going to be this stuff that you've come to know from Destiny, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just that's kind of what it felt
You
like.
expect.
Destiny was so built on the back of the ideas around Borderlands that's kind of where I thought maybe they would take it. I like the humor of the first Borderlands. I absolutely despise the humor of the second Borderlands. It rubbed me the wrong way
maybe
all
this
the
one will kind
time.
of fall.
So we'll find out next
Halfway
week
through.
on how bad this. Good
Right.
this is.
And I'm that's not going to get me to not play the game.
Yeah.
Because I play a lot of games that have bad stories. But it's just
There's
one
a
of
lot
those-
of games that have bad
and
stories.
it's just the thing that, like, I don't like Claptrap's humor doesn't appeal to me at all. That's not funny to me. I get a lot of people like it, and that's fine, but it's just the kind of humor that I don't enjoy. And so I'm like,
I don't know if I
hopefully
ever
it's-
like game humor because it just seems it's too repetitive. I'm trying to think of one where it was more or less repetitive, and there's probably been a few out there, but I just can't think of
I think
right now.
they're usually,
You know, it's like, oh, that first time you told that was funny. Now it just feels
usually
like
it's
a
like
broken record.
well written. A lot of times the indie games tend to be funnier. That I think like Night in the Woods had some really funny stuff in it. I think a lot of times, to me it's the Avengers thing, like the early Avengers movies, that type of humor, and I didn't like those either. So it's kind of that weird, kind of very like low hanging fruit, lowest common denominator. Like this is safe because everyone will laugh at it, and it's just like okay,
This
it's
is the
fine,
expected
but,
joke.
Yeah, I just whatever. But no, I'm still excited to play Borderlands 3. Kuipers, you sound like you're excited to play it.
Yep. One of the cool features that I heard about with the game as well is that there's like a delta leveling or something I've heard it was called, where basically if you're level 80 and you have a friend who's just starting the game at level 1, you can turn on this game mode and it will scale the difficulties so that like
You each are independent.
yeah, it's like you're independent but together at the same time.
Does it like level it out to where you're both like level 40 or something?
I don't know what it does exactly, but it's like basically enemies will take the same amount of damage or like same amount of like bullets and whatnot for you to kill at level 80 as a level 1 person has to kill.
Okay,
And the loot also scales too. Like,
But when you say that's a mode you can turn on, shouldn't that just be whatever it does no matter what? Or
so they'll do it that they'll keep it as the way how the game was before with
Oh, like if I jump in, you're level 80, I'm level 1, I'm just going to get creamed every time.
You're going to get creamed, and all the loot will be level 80, or you can turn on this other setting.
Oh, so I could get sweet loot, though,
So you can
take it back to my game?
Yeah, you can still get, like, level 1 loot when you're joining the level 80 friend.
Remember the first game, Jeremy, on Xbox? We played a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
And remember when, because on PC, they figured out how to hack the weapons.
Yeah,
and then,
actually they
and
did
then
that
it
on
crossed
Xbox.
Well, that's what I was getting
yeah.
to. Like, somehow they got those into the Xbox version. I think you get
did
one of
it.
those guns.
Oh, I did it.
You got it from somebody.
Yeah,
and it was like an infinite.
It was an infinite rocket launcher.
Yeah.
It was a full auto infinite rocket launcher with the highest level damage rating that you could get, which was actually above what the gun.
And I'm surprised you didn't get like banned or flagged.
Well, other people were getting banned
Jeremy
and flagged
would.
like crazy on it, and then there were some people they were saying that it was that they were getting the blue screens on their Xboxes because it would overheat because it just couldn't handle all the processing.
But I guess it wasn't something you sought out to do. It was because you were in a multiplayer game and someone dropped it.
Someone dropped it, and I picked it up, and this is cool. I shot it a few times, but I think it probably didn't get banned because I wasn't. They were looking for people doing that kind of damage, and I just kept it in my inventory forever.
And that's the other thing about.
And I found some others. There's like some sniper rifles that had like auto aim and crazy stuff like that.
Well, and with the Borderlands series, that was always their claim to fame was we have infinite weapons, like because of the way it randomly generates.
And I did like how they were all same weapon but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like. So you were hunting for a better set.
That's
of
kind
settings,
of that Destiny.
You know?
That's Destiny kind of borrowed from that too, where
yeah.
they have lots of weapons and names for them and different.
Right.
So there's a loot. It was the first Schluter. Okay, that's what Borderlands was the Schluter birth, and I just wonder, is it gonna feel dated after Destiny? And not that I'm the hugest Destiny fan, but I do like the gameplay of Destiny.
Right.
Like going back to Borderlands now, I'm like, is it gonna feel
so with
dated,
Borderlands?
or-
Is it supposed to be something that you're playing with people?
You don't have to.
Okay.
It could be completely solo, or you can just have like up to 4 people. I think.
Is it 4?
Yep,
Join
4.
your game.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's 4.
Yeah. And then you can just jump in and play.
But
with
you're playing in their world,
them. Yeah.
so it doesn't help your game progression.
But you can take their loot though, and you can level
you can
up.
take their
and
loot,
you
you
keep
can
your
level
levels.
up, and
Yeah.
you can complete story stuff.
Because I remember Eric, we were trying to do it as a group, and we always had to play with one person as the leader so that we kept progressing
at the slowest person's rate.
Yeah, exactly.
But wait, Kuipers, you're saying that you can complete story missions that you even if
like-
they're further in it that
and
you haven't got to yet?
Yeah, like in Borderlands 2, like I was playing with a friend that like he had already done like the first area basically, like we were starting off, and I just made a character, and kind of like gained up to their spot. But then,
but you still had to play the first mission that was in front of it. But then
so I still played all the stuff with them, like using their files, and then the next time I played a game on my own, they're like, "Hey, do you want to just jump up to like complete?
Oh, I don't
complete
remember
those
that.
levels."
Oh.
And so yeah, I was like,
So
cool.
you could skip all that story stuff?
Yeah, like if you joined.
But then you'd have to start another game if you wanted to experience it.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's kind of a bummer. But
Well, like if you're playing if you're just making a new character to play with a friend that you've already beat the story.
Oh, I see.
That
what
works
you mean.
out then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's video games. There's a lot. It's the floodgates have
I
opened.
mean, it's only going to get worse from here.
Is it? Yeah.
I mean, as far as us talking about video games on this show.
This is the
you mean
time.
better. You mean better.
Yeah. Well, right. Yeah.
If you want to, we've already spent most of the time on the show.
I mean, we're
talking about video
officially in the countdown window now, where we're just playing games that will eventually, once we beat this one, then we get to that next one. They're all chained.
I just upped my game fly to 3.
Yeah,
that's the season.
They're
the
all
season, yeah.
they're all chained to what is it? April that Cyberpunk comes out. Is that? I mean, there's like a chain of games that is coming out that the release of that
December. There's nothing really, but yeah.
But I mean, that's where you play those catch-up games.
I'm curious to see about so many of these games. They look great. Like even Call of Duty, I really like that beta. I want to play so much more of that one-on-one mode that I talked about a couple weeks ago. That was so good. There's another beta going right now, and I don't know what that is.
I think that's for pre-orders.
Yeah, people are trying to get keys for that right now, but I don't know what mode that is. I don't know if that's just a regular multiplayer or if it's still
probably
more
one new map or something.
Yeah. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I think that's shaping up to be cool. I want to see what that's like. Anyways, we can always do this later. Games, that's cool. What else have you guys been doing? Anything?
I finished up the Netflix Marvel marathon that is the Defenders groups of TV shows. Watched the final one. Finished up Jessica Jones.
Oh, okay.
It was a pretty good season.
You could see where they decided it needed, like where they knew it was ending.
Well, I think they
the
knew
season.
they knew a long time beforehand
It just
that
feels
they
like
were going to
halfway
be
through
done.
the season there was a transition where things just started to go faster, like they were
Well,
answering questions.
It was very much the same method that I think is the biggest weakness of all of the Netflix series is that they had the 13 episode order, so by
knew
golly
where it was
we're
going.
gonna fill that 13 episodes, even though you get to episode 8 and you're like, I can see the ending right here. We just need like one, maybe 2 episodes, not 5 more episodes. But overall, I still thought it was a pretty strong season. It was definitely better than the second season was. So that's pretty much all I've been doing.
I thought you finished that like 2 weeks ago.
I think I had just started it.
Okay.
So I finally finished it because
Wow.
it's one of those that's, I mean, it's not as easy to just binge
Because it's so
the
bad.
whole thing because it's just so slow. It's not that it's.
insane.
I mean, you're right.
You gotta
you're
know.
right.
Listen, it's not
bad. It's bad
not
in the way
that it's bad. You just gotta know
you gotta
what
be
it
in the right-
is.
you
You have to
just
know
gotta
what
be
it
in the right
is.
It's not. I mean, it is bad because I think that ultimately, like, that's the
Yeah,
flaw of all 4 of those series.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, the Punisher, I think, really hit it because they only did like 10 episode seasons, and those 2 seasons felt like everything clipped along at the right pacing that all of those shows should have been. They should have all been 10 episode seasons.
I think the first season of Daredevil was probably one of their best. Like
Right.
that one was good. And the
it
second
made
season
it
was
made
okay.
sense for the fact that they kind of prolonged everything because there was a lot of the world setting there.
Did they make 2 seasons of Iron Fist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second
Okay, I
season
didn't
was
watch the second.
the second
Second
season
season was
was
pretty
much
bad.
better than the
I
first
thought
season
it was
was.
bad. I guess I thought they both were bad
They-
though.
they-
Sorry.
They were definitely the worst.
They were the worst series,
of
for
the
sure.
of the 5.
So like
well, 6 that they put
I remember
out.
watching the first season of Iron Fist. Then the Defenders came out. I watched that,
And
then
that was poo poo.
and that wasn't great. And then the
Right.
Punisher was good. And so then I watched the second season of Punisher, and I thought both of those were fine. But once I saw there was another Jessica Jones, I just couldn't do it. Like I like that series okay, but I
Right.
was just like I can't. I don't even. And I didn't watch the other Iron Fist season, and I'm just like I'm done. I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't. There's so many. There's so much better quality TV shows that I'd rather watch that I'm just like I can't.
Sure.
So speaking of,
watch
have
that.
either of you guys watched Buckets?
Yeah, I've seen. The
I know it's a
first-
couple years old for the first season.
like-
2016
I think it's they're in
or
the
something like that.
3rd or 4th season.
Well, I just started watching it because it's on Hulu now.
Hulu now.
It's hilarious.
Is that like
I know you.
HBO
I
now?
figured. Yes, I figured you would like it, Eric, because it's about a clown.
I mean, loosely.
No, I know Kyle's a big fan of it. I haven't watched. You mean Baskets?
Baskets.
Isn't
yeah.
that what I said? Oh, I said,
You said
buckets. I
buckets.
meant baskets.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I was
man?
gonna say like
That's how
about
often
a
I've watched
clown.
it. No.
I know there's
I'm
a show
about
called
4
Baskets.
Buckets.
Yeah.
about-
I'm
Buckets
about.
on
I did
FX.
put it on, type it on there. Yeah, I did. But the funny thing is, when I searched for the character's name, I did type baskets into that one. Anyway, no,
Zach
but I'm only
Galifianakis.
I'm only like 4 episodes in, and it's pretty good. So I'm glad
I've
I'm
heard
picking
good
up
things
on it.
about
Yeah,
it.
it's a good it's a good show. It's very very dark humor that's not really like that laugh out loud. It's
No, it's
a little more of that
paced and
slow paced.
nuanced.
There's a couple of moments where you're gonna laugh out loud, but most of it is just kind of that chuckle to yourself.
I like that Jeremy must not be the only person to have done this because
Did
when
you
I type
see
in
it? Did you
when I
type
type
it?
in Google Buckets TV show, it just brings up.
Did you
you
mean
mean Baskets TV?
Oh, that's
show?
funny.
Yes.
Anyway,
Did.
is what it is. I also decided to buy something off Facebook this week or last week.
Did you buy an Oculus?
No, I bought an old 4-wheeler.
Oh, you mean off Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace.
I thought you meant like actually
No.
from the company Facebook, which I think they only sell VR.
That's
headsets.
probably true.
Wait, they
Or
do have
ads.
that-
They sell ads.
And they also have those like little TV, little like Alexa things for your house that
Do
are
they
like
really?
yeah, it's like an intercom system that you can talk to old people with or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's senior citizen communication.
Woo!
Anyway,
I
so
remember
yeah, I
when
bought a
those seemed
4-wheeler.
so cool.
And then I tore up part of my yard with it.
Why would you
My
buy a
wife
4-wheeler? You have
didn't like
nowhere to ride a 4-wheeler.
I do.
Jeremy.
I have a whole wooded lot that.
That's just
I'm
straight
gonna-
uphill. There's no
It
way
is
to
not.
ride that.
It is not straight uphill. It's
Wait,
plateaued.
hang on. Can we back
It's
up a second? You
plateaued.
said that you rode it into your yard and got in trouble with your wife.
Because I
You have nowhere to
Did a
ride a
donut.
4-wheeler.
I did
You
a
say
donut.
you do, but
See-
I've seen your land over there. It's a cliff. You have a cliff
well, here's
behind
the
your
thing.
house
No.
It was a good deal
with trees.
and I
There's-
actually plan on just taking it down to my dad's new property.
What's a good deal though for a 4-wheeler
It's a
you'll
couple $100
never
bucks.
use?
It's a couple $100.
Okay.
See this, and that's you're right, Eric. He doesn't have anywhere to ride it, which is why he tore up his yard and got in trouble with his wife.
That's true. But
well,
it was fun doing it.
you're very. I mean, that's like one step
No,
away
here's the
from a
deal.
midlife crisis.
No, here's the deal. I've wanted one for a while. In the winter, I'm gonna put a plow on it because I got a lot of sidewalk.
It's a shovel.
Yeah.
That's
But I thought you were
actually
gonna store it at your parents' place.
Well, no, I said I was gonna take it down there.
How much you can
Oh.
charge me
Oh.
to come down to my place and plow my stuff
That's
too?
a good question. We'll see.
Maybe you can start a business.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Jeremy's.
You guys will
Hey,
appreciate
you know what this
it
means, though?
because the parking lot that you guys park in for the studio.
you could plow
Will
it
get
out.
plowed.
Yes. You mean the grass space behind?
Yes.
In the
Hey,
alley.
but that means that that parking area will be plowable.
Yeah, exactly.
And B, if we really, really need it, we can get him to come and help us.
Because I can just put it in the back of the truck.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there you go.
That would have been really nice last winter when somebody decided to plow out an alley next to my parking or next to my
Oh, and
driveway,
just covered
and they
it?
plowed like half of it into our driveway.
Nice.
So we had like one car's length to get out instead of both cars' widths.
That's nuts. Anyway, so we'll see how the plow works in the winter. We'll see.
I'm already excited for your services.
It's gonna
I'm
probably
sure
be
you are.
great.
How much? I mean, I really want to know how much you're gonna charge.
I gotta make sure it works.
We got to get you a Mr. Plow jacket.
That's right.
What's your business name gonna be? Let's think of a good one. Jeremy Plows.
Jeremy plows good.
Oh.
Jeremy will plow you. No, that doesn't sound good. That sounds really bad.
Plowing all winter.
Jeremy's Snow Bunny Service.
No, I think that one might get him into trouble too. I don't.
Back door, front yard, or on the sidewalk. Jeremy's here to plow for you.
That's
I
too
don't-
long.
Like
of
that's
a
a that's
That's
a,
the tagline.
yeah that's a
why specifically the back door?
because he wants to make it as
For
terrible
you-
sounding
that's
as
where
possible.
You guys are parking. We already discussed this.
Like
Plow or you park. That's what it is. I don't know.
it needs to be more creative, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, you guys.
What about
Here's a tagline: Jeremy will take that white powder off your hands.
blow?
But it's
Yes.
Not, but it's not.
I know it's
That's
not
if I had a snow blower.
I'm gonna look up some good name ideas here from the rocketbusinessbuilder.com.
Yes. What does Rocket Business Builder have
Snow
for us here?
removal business name ideas. Here we go. Snow Management Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Professional Property Services.
Gross.
These are terrible names.
Snow Paw Lawn and Lawnscape.
What do you got? Dogs that are pulling the plow?
Yeah.
See, there's a much better way to do this. You search Reddit.
No more problems.
Mr. Plow.
That's something that's the Simpsons.
How about
There's a lot of
Well,
Mr.
that's
Plows
beside
out
the
how
there.
about
I'm pretty sure.
Snowbusters.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna call?
Snowbusters.
How about the four of us dressed in all khaki like overalls, and we go out on one little 4x4?
Yeah.
We've got backpacks that have like snow melt stuff in it that we spray to melt it down.
Snowbusters.
Yeah.
I'm on.
I like this idea.
I want in on this business.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
I want some money.
What about
too.
the guy that was like they didn't he get fined or something for trying to use a blowtorch to melt the snow?
Probably.
We could all have blowtorches and go
Yeah.
around. And
I think that the boring company is out of those currently. I don't think they're making those anymore.
All right, let's dump into the
Let's
news.
dump into the news.
Yeah, welcome to Butt City, where we dump on.
We almost went a full hour without a fart joke.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good for us.
TheVerge.com, they're covering the 5 biggest announcement from Apple's September 2019 event. Before we get to the hardware, there's some things to hold on to your butts, Jeremy.
I haven't even looked at any of
What?
this
I didn't
yet.
say
I know you were prancing at the bit like a excited
I'm curious.
pony.
I'm curious what you're gonna say. I'm more curious about what you're gonna say.
Okay, good.
I really want to know. Did you intentionally say prancing at the bit like a pony?
like
an
an angry
or,
pony.
or was that a really good recovery?
What? Why wouldn't I?
Because I mean, there's usually it's like the chomping at the bit
no
and then prancing at the. I've never heard that before.
I guess I've heard that.
Oh,
Chopping
man.
at the bit.
I've only heard chomping at the bit,
You've
so I
never
thought
heard-
that you may have.
You've never heard prancing?
I have
I
never
mean,
heard prancing at the bit.
That must be a South Dakotan thing.
Must
Maybe.
be.
Our ponies prance.
I thought that
boy.
you just recovered really well.
No, I don't know. Anyways, so I think the first thing, I mean, well, besides going to the phones and some of the hardware stuff that was announced, they announced the release date and the price of their streaming service. Which, man, it was almost like they were waiting for Disney to do
And
it
then
so
we
they
said,
could
we'll
lowball
do
them.
this.
Because it's like it's coming out a little bit earlier and
November
it's
1st.
$2 cheaper.
A month.
So we were like freaking out over Disney being only $7, which is rightfully so. Disney has a much bigger catalog than Apple is going to have. But Apple's coming out with a $5 a month service.
I'm more freaking
But
out
it gets
about the
better.
Disney Plus
And I think
with Hulu
If you
and
buy a
ESPN.
device, Eric,
you get it free for a year.
for a year.
Yeah, if you buy an Apple TV or something like that.
So then if you buy a new device every year, do you just keep getting it for free?
I don't know
mean,
how
it
that
depends
works.
on if they keep that going.
But the
Okay,
thing
that's how
is,
it-
like, the
it
stuff
works.
that they are showing is incredible looking. The shows that they have on this, like the new one with Mr. Aquaman himself, Jason Momoa. I don't know. Have you guys seen the trailer for this thing? It looks crazy. It looks really good. I mean, they're saying that some of these shows cost like $15 million an episode to produce and film and all of that.
All right, HBO, pump your brakes.
Yeah, this show is called C, and it looks really, really, really cool. Anyways, $5. That seems like a very low gamble to check it out. At least, like that's.
I mean,
that's a low.
but you got to have Apple
investment.
TV.
All right, but who doesn't have Apple TV?
I mean,
I
mine's
got a really
old.
old one.
Oh, okay.
And I
Kuipers
don't
is
think
raising his hand.
Apple TV's great.
But it,
But the newer ones are a lot better. They're much faster. They're more reliable, and they have the App Store, so you can download the apps from like whatever.
See, and that sounds like that's a lot better. Mine was pre being able to download apps.
Oh, okay.
It's just the whatever you have.
So the other thing is they announced their game, the arcade thing, and that's only going to be a $5 subscription too. So that's like their Games Pass or whatever you want to compare it to, Stadia stuff.
But it's
I
just
still-
their games, right? Or their
It's-
indie game.
It's
thing?
games that are developed for the.
Yeah,
For
they
their apps
they have
and-
developers that are working with them to specifically make games. The games that they're showing off to look great. They're not your average iPhone game. So that's
Sure.
I think that looks pretty compelling.
So
I think for me, that one specifically, that I'm a little more hesitant on, just because I don't know what they are curating into it, and I kind of want to see that a little bit.
Yeah,
Fleshed
it's
out
It's
and
out there. Go look it up.
Yeah, I mean, see that there is a consistent enough thing for it to feel like it's worth a price of
I think again with
jumping
for
into it.
$5
It probably is, but
you,
yeah.
you pay $5 and check it out, and if you go, this isn't for me, you cancel. Like
Yeah.
there's like $5. There's no like risk there. Like that's such
Right.
a low barrier of entry.
So you figure you don't have an Apple TV and you want to get the 4K.
Yeah.
Okay, just the 32 gig. It's $179, but you save $60 for your first year of service.
Right.
So that's a pretty good deal.
And those
That's a really
thing
good
I will
deal.
say is the new Apple TVs are so much better than those older ones because they're the way they stream and everything. The caching on it's better. It doesn't. Those older Apple TVs.
But I
would,
put all
like,
my
hang
money into the Amazon thing,
The
the Fire
Amazon thing.
TV thingies.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
because your house is set to Alexa.
Anyway,
Alexa, do things.
Alexa, stop.
but
that's the biggest thing I miss from my Xbox is that you don't have the voice
I never
automated.
used that ever.
Really? Oh man.
Did they
I
fully
always
take
told it
that
to
out?
oh yeah. Well, the Pro doesn't have the ability to do it. I don't
Right.
think, but and
Mine
the
still
S,
does.
The S does, but you have to buy a custom adapter
My-
for your old camera.
My day one Xbox One
Yeah.
still going strong and turning on when I
you
say
go.
Xbox on.
You are an outlier.
I'm an outlier.
But I think the thing that makes even the arcade thing a little bit more appealing to me is that they've announced that they'll support any of the mainstream console controllers like the Xbox and the PlayStation. So like if you have an Apple TV or even on an iPad or a phone, you can just pair one of those controllers with it and check out these games that.
Yeah,
seem
that's
like
cool because
really-
you can do it on the other devices with the
so
TV app.
I think at least for a $5 trial for a month, like check it out. The games you can look those up; they look really cool. The other news out of there, I mean, it's kind of more of Apple stuff. They've got an updated iPad. They've got a Series 5 Apple Watch. This one is always on, which is kind of nice. So you're not like
Always lit up.
Is it
you
always
mean?
on, or is it an option that you can
'Cause I think
leave
always
it
on.
as?
It's always
So-
on.
Oh, okay.
But what if people are in dark space and they don't want?
So
the,
what
to
it
light up?
does is when you're like normally now, if I put my wrist down, my watch goes black. What it'll do now is it'll be on, but it dims it to a very low light, and it'll also change. Like if your face is more color or white, it'll invert it to black. So that way it's still readable. So like you don't have to move your arm. Like let's say you're resting your arm in a subway train, or you're like
and then
laying
you
got to
be like, oh, you didn't register that.
yeah, so you got to keep doing
Yeah.
this. Well, now it's just always on, and so you can look down and you can see it still, but it's not going to be fully bright. And it's gonna they've reworked their circuitry and their display to where it doesn't use. It actually has more battery life than the last model. I don't know. It's not that's cool, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I have to go out there and get one of these right now. Like it's not that big of a change. I think it would be very convenient, but I feel like this is kind of the year of that. Like the new, there's the iPhone 11, which is now the XR replacement, pretty much. The iPhone
Which
But
the
cheaper,
10
by the way.
The 10
or 10R,
the 10, or is it the 10R? That was the one that was supposed to be like the one that was the more affordable version
right.
versus the 10s, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So they're moving away from that version that they had made.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
So-
Is it because it's going to keep the costs down and
It's just a
be
new
able
phone.
to sell more phones?
They got to sell more phones. So
Well, right, but I mean, like, I guess when you think about that, especially if you're somebody that's like, well, what's the highest model, or what's the
we'll get to that. They explain that pretty well because this is the
okay?
iPhone 11.
I didn't watch any of it, so
This is the iPhone 11.
it's the XR
It's a
upgrade.
10R.
It's an upgraded.
10.
Yeah.
yeah.
Upgraded. So then what they did now is the iPhone 11 Pro and iPhone 11 Pro Max are like the more expensive phones. So the 11 starts at $699, then the Pro starts at $999.
Oh, okay.
So they're calling it the Pro. It's got 3
And
cameras.
the Pro
now.
Max is like $1249.
No, that was the whatever the 10s Max was the same. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not and they didn't change the prices.
But this one's the base model is cheaper than the R was when it was released last year. It's by $50. It's $699 versus $749. So it's cheaper.
yeah, the 11. I'm talking about
Yeah.
The 11
Yeah, the others
expensive
are the same.
versions are
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, the 11 Pro is the new version of the 10s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
And the
can no
11
longer
is the
buy
10R.
the 10s from Apple. It's gone.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got a limited edition.
So
Yeah.
I'm a pretty regular upgrader. I don't think this actually appeals to me at all.
I was hoping you were going to be all for it so I could be the naysayer, Eric.
So here's the thing: is the wide angle camera that they add is super cool, and I think, especially for me, who my day-to-day job is social media, that I take pictures with my
Yeah.
phone all the time for, I could definitely use that and put it to good use.
You could
But-
make the excuse for yourself for
yeah,
getting
but
one.
for me,
But
the camera is like, oh, it's nice. I was able to take a picture.
yeah.
But
And so that's really the biggest thing they're offering here, which I'm kind of
better battery life.
better battery life. You get like 5 more hours out of the big phone.
The
4
big
out of
phone
the
is
smaller.
20 hours.
Yeah, but I'm saying 5 more than the last.
Yeah, it's only I think 14 on the.
You can get it in
Base.
some ugly green color. That's cool. I
Right?
guess.
No, it's not.
It's midnight green.
No, it's not.
And then obviously a new chip, a faster chip, all this stuff
But it feels like the least incremental change
in a while.
in a long time.
Yeah.
And the fact that iPhone sales have been waning the last couple of years, I don't think this is the salvation.
No, I think this is. They realized that they sold way more 10Rs than they sold of the 10S, and so
Yeah, so they focused. They
They've-
doubled down on that, having good enough.
and they gave it.
stuff.
They gave it the wide angle lens.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, hey, get this one. I do think, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, could be wrong, but it would make sense that the next, like in a year from now, when they announce the next one, that's going to be the bigger iteration. And so at this point, I mean, maybe not, but I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like the
It
10
kind of has to.
because now we've got 3 versions of this phone without any really revolutionary changes. Like Face ID was the big change with the 10, and then there just hasn't really been anything other than, I mean, there.
But the fact that other vendors are doing the Touch ID behind the screen, they don't have notches in them anymore for cameras. They're behind the screen.
They're like, some of them literally look bezel-less, like
yeah,
some of the
because that's what I mean. They got
yeah,
the
Samsung
front
phones.
camera is behind
well, even the
the
bezel
display.
is like
the
non-existent.
bezel, yeah, it's so curved on the edges.
right.
I mean,
the only thing
for
that,
being an Apple lover, I was really underwhelmed with the new
the
phone.
only thing with the camera though that is very impressive is like the way they explained it is that this camera actually takes like 8 photos now. It takes 4 photos before you even push the button to take the photo, and then it
How's
So it's
that
just constantly
it's just
taking
constantly,
photos.
once you open that camera app, it's just taking photos,
And
so,
then it'll
And then
keep
it just
the ones
keeps the
it'll
4
keep the
prior
4
to the
prior
play.
to you actually
Yeah.
pressing it,
Oh
I would
my
imagine.
goodness.
So what it's doing though is then it uses some sort of crazy voodoo, technological voodoo to put all of these together in a way that it finds you'd have less motion blur, you have better color, you have better lighting, and the processor in there is putting all of this information together on the fly to make like perfect looking photos.
They're doing amazing stuff technology-wise for consumer photography,
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome.
Which it's turning. I mean, they showed like examples of them making like a few little films and stuff with just this phone, and it looks cool. The photos look amazing. There's a new low light mode where you could take it in like a dark room, and it'll pull in enough data to lighten the photo, and it looks really, really good. If those examples stand true, I know the Pixel had that last year, and those photos were really cool that it could do.
Right.
So I think they're trying to kind of directly compete with that. I mean, part of it is like.
it's
I
not a
always
big
like
leap forward,
the
though.
biggest reason I upgraded from the 10 to the 10s was because they offered the bigger phone. And
Yep,
I like
that's
my
same
giant,
reason
I
I
want
did
my
it.
giant screen. I like that. That was the biggest reason I did it. This doesn't give me that big of a change
so,
to go.
so both my kids are up for renewals,
Yeah.
and I don't think they've watched any of this or know about the new phones. But I know they're gonna go, what? Because I'm not buying them the Max. There's no
or
way.
the pros.
Pro, you mean?
The Pro even, yeah.
Get them the 11s. But it's a good phone.
It's a good phone, but it's not as big.
It's in between though.
Yeah, but it's not as big as what they
Yeah.
have with their 8 pluses or whatever. They
Oh
got.
well, no, but no, it is
Is it
because
not
see,
not the plus?
they have an 8 plus, but that's all this big fat bezel on the top and the bottom.
No, you and I know this, but it feels smaller.
No, the 11 is bigger than
The
Right,
shape
'cause
of the
it's-
phone is
the
bigger.
the 11 is like the 10R.
So,
which
like, Kyle's
my
phone
wife, my
is
wife
the-
has the
Kyle's-
10R. It's bigger than this.
So it's right in between these two.
Okay,
yeah.
but it's still smaller.
Barely. They're not
Yeah.
going to notice it.
They won't.
We'll
notice.
see. We'll see.
They won't even notice it. Because here's why they won't notice it. Because the screen is bigger than the screen they have now.
That's true.
Right.
Because the
so
screen
even
goes
though
top to
even though
bottom.
the size of the phone may be a little bit smaller, the amount of screen space that they're going to get,
Yeah.
it's going to feel like it's
Here's the
that
thing.
much
Here's
bigger.
where I think Apple's going to shoot themselves in the foot just a little bit, potentially, is calling this the Pro. That makes me go, hey, you know what you argument you just gave me, Jeremy, is like, well, no, your kid doesn't need a Pro device.
Yeah, so
That's-
they're not going to sell them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's
Yeah.
no parent that's going to go, well, my kid's not using this for their career or for work or for
Right.
some sort of
But see, they were
task.
going with their iPad naming
Right, I know.
convention,
And I think- and
which,
that-
but that's the other thing. The Pro, iPad Pro, is a pretty cool device.
Right,
Like,
but
in
people
comparison.
still aren't going to buy it over
Yeah.
the $329 iPad.
Absolutely.
Because
Right.
of the cost.
Yeah.
So I just feel like.
Which, by the way, they got bigger screens on their iPads.
Yeah, that was one of
Series
the
And
other.
then they also announced like a 16-inch MacBook now, or MacBook Pro. So they got rid of the 15 and they have a 13 and 16-inch, I think. So it's Apple.
I liked my 17 back in the day, so a bigger
Yeah.
one.
I call that one the Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Only because he was in those commercials with what's
'Cause
his
of how
face,
tall he was.
Vern Troyer, rest in peace.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, there was a commercial with them on an airplane, and Vern had the small MacBook Pro, and Yao Ming had the giant MacBook
Amazing.
Pro.
The 7.5 pound
Yeah.
MacBook Pro 17-inch.
Why you got to fat shame Vern like that?
I had it.
So,
What are you talking about? It.
No, I was never.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's about it. There was some. I'm sure there's some other stuff there. I think the thing that came out of this that was most interesting to me was their TV service and their arcade stuff. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, that means I'm not gonna get a new phone, but that's just because I've only just recently gotten it, and I was on the 6S before I jumped to this one, so I'll probably hold on just because.
Yeah. My contract's up next year, so I'll at least hold. What I'll do.
Well, I
is,
have the every year renewal, but I'm like,
Yeah,
I
why?
think I may just pay this one off.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay
Yeah.
pay these off. I'll probably hand them down to my kids, and then get the next one that comes out.
It is so much like I know that there's a lot of people out there that lease their phones, but it's nice having it bought and being yours and being like, I don't have to give this back to someone if I don't have the however much it is.
Yeah, well, I mean,
to
with
buy
the
a new
plans
one.
now, though, you only give it back if you want to upgrade.
Right. But it is nice
if
being
you finish
able
paying
to,
it off, it's yours.
Yeah, and that's what I like is that after I've paid it off, I'm like, oh, well, my phone bill just went down by, whatever, like
Until you need to buy that new one.
until I need to buy a new one.
Yeah.
So, because we held off for like 3 years or 4 years between buying phones.
The Pro Max will be like $50
I do sometimes
for the
wish,
base one. I think it's $50 a month.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wish that a lot of times that I had the income to just outright buy it every time I wanted it, just so I didn't
Yeah.
have to worry about that bill going up. But, anyways, that's enough about iPhones and Apple stuff. We don't want to bore anybody else.
Being
with
adults.
that and the, it's a good time. One more story before we come to a close.
Come
To a close. This next story is from KMTV News Omaha. News Now Omaha. This is a local story coming out of Omaha,
Yeah.
Nebraska. Headline reads, Gamers owner booked for stealing consoles from competing store. Now, Gamers, just for everyone who's not aware from the local area, is a local used video game store, kind of like
Right.
a GameStop or something like that, but it's a locally owned and ran one.
Right.
So the
Well, and-
owner of this store,
And they'd gone out of
says-
business.
and then they came back.
And then there was a new owner that bought the rights to it and whatnot and opened it, I think, last fall or something.
Mr. David Mitchell.
Yeah, and he had been booked. I guess he's been released on bail now, but they booked him on a felony burglary charge.
How do you steal the console? I mean, most of those
so-
are empty boxes.
No, so here's the thing. They said that
He stole it from competing stores.
from the
Well, I
competing.
know, but even
they used to-
Walmart, it's behind glass if it's in
Right.
the real box.
Right, but they used to have. Gamers used to be at like 72nd and Dodge, and there's a new game store there, and they had reported robberies like a month or something ago. One of the guys that works at Gamers allegedly had worked at
And still
that
had
location.
keys?
They hadn't changed keys or whatnot, and so they're the at least from what I've understood of the story, they believe that he used the key to go in a handful of incidents between June and July, grabbing about $50,000 worth of consoles and expensive
Holy
games from the shelves. And they have said that the reason that they think that this was something that happened was because they in their warrant they pulled up their Facebook pages and saw that there was communication between them in their messaging app while the store was being robbed. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's a
And
crazy,
that, folks, is why you don't use social media messaging.
right.
I don't know.
Wait,
Yeah,
how did they
yeah.
get caught?
So I think that they had the suspicions of what was going on.
Oh, okay.
And so the warrant, they were able to get records of their Facebook messages, and there were Facebook messages back and forth between the
Talking about
owner
what
and
they
the
were
person
doing.
that
Like,
was
really,
allegedly
Why would
in
you
the
use
store.
Facebook to do that?
Really, people.
I don't know.
Why would you use
Listen,
any type
because
of messaging
because
to do
people
that?
who steal at this level aren't smart thieves.
Why wouldn't you just meet up with the person to talk about this sort of stuff?
Because it sounds like it was something that was during the burglary. So it sounds like one of the people that was involved may have flipped and said, yeah, it was something that we did that we were told to go and do by our boss.
How do you?
And they said that there was even that there were photos of PlayStation filing cabinets and decorations that were in these messages during that time. So,
So they
if
were
it-
stealing them, bringing them back to their store, and selling them.
yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what they've been charged with. So, which is really just kind of.
I mean, if the employees were just stealing them, they should hawk them themselves, right?
But I think that they were
Oh, they
going
were
to
they
get
were-
them so they could sell them at gamers.
Yeah,
they
but
were steal-
I mean,
they were
why would
they
you
were
do, why
allegedly
would you
stealing
steal
it
for your
from-
boss if you're working at a retail store in a strip mall? Like,
They must be.
You ain't
they
making
must
enough
be
money to go to
buddies.
jail for them.
They probably have a relationship
That's
of
what
some
it
sort,
is.
friends or something.
it's crazy.
That sucks. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Crime doesn't pay.
Crime doesn't
Okay?
pay.
I mean, it did for the first 50,000.
Yeah, I believe it. The update that I had seen earlier today said that he had been the owner had been released on a $50,000 bail. So
Don't do it, guys.
don't do it.
Bad news. All right. Well, I think that does it for our show. We can't leave yet, though. We can't do it. We have to brace ourselves for the inevitable. And that is that we thank the one and only Patreon Peep. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got to thank Mr. J. Oliver.
Thank you.
Right there, shining in the bright Patreon coral for being our one and only solo hero over there at patreon.com/minutub. He donates on a monthly level to support this here show. If you too want to be a supporter of this show that we do here weekly, we could definitely use your help. Go to gamers.spam/min and you will be able to support this show. No, I'm kidding. It's patreon.com/minuteintub where you can subscribe at any level. Any monetary amount
Get your
is
name on
appreciated.
You can just click on the Patreon button right below the screen if you're watching us right now in Twitch.
There you go, right there.
Just click on Patreon.
Just give us $1 so we feel good about ourselves. That's all we need.
I mean, if you give us $1, and then if you tell a couple of friends to give us $1, and then they tell a couple of friends to give us $1,
Then
that's
it's-
like $30 a month.
And then you'll be part of our MLM. Have you tried our oils? They smell great. They all smell like jars of farts, but still.
$5.50, and if you sell 40, you can get more next month.
Would you like a Nathan fart diffuser?
Capers.
Would you like a Kuiper's bathwater diffuser? Visit patreon.com/minuteintub. Thanks for your support. We do love you all. Welcome to the chat, the great Cornholio. I need TP for my bunhole. Ooh, TP. My name is Cornholio. No, thank you for joining us. We're wrapping up here. It's great that you need TP for your bunghole.
Yeah, you should probably get that
That's
taken care of.
actually good that you use it.
But make sure you wash your
Yeah,
hands
wash your
afterwards.
hands afterwards. Make sure
I-
that you're clean.
I was somewhere in Disney World and a dude came out of the stall.
And didn't
didn't wash
wash.
his
I mean,
hands.
the stall. Seriously.
Like I just it's so bad. Like I am even graceful enough that I will even though it's disgusting to think about, I'll forgive the person who walks away from the urinal and doesn't wash their hand. I will extend them grace. I will say, well, I know that's gross.
Yeah.
And you should have at least felt the social pressure of me being in here to
Yeah,
wash your
exactly.
hands.
Right.
But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna extend forgiveness
Yeah,
to you.
splashback hand
Because you probably took
is
a
totally different.
you
than
probably
poop
took
hands.
a shower in the morning, and so you're probably somewhat
Hopefully, I'm
clean.
hoping. I'm
know.
justifying
But
it.
again, you get splashback potential.
Sure.
Well, sure.
But
I mean, if you
that
if
could
you've
be
got-
anywhere.
if
That
you-
could be on your pants. That could be on
That's,
your.
that's true.
It's not
It
could
probably
be.
is on
It
your
is on
pants.
your
Yeah.
pants. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
So, but then when you come out of a stall,
That's why you never wear khakis, folks.
maybe you come out of the stall and it's like there was no flush, so maybe they were changing their clothes. Maybe,
Right.
but you hear the flush, they come out of the stall and they just beeline
Maybe it
for
was
the door.
maybe it was a ghost poop and they never wiped.
Maybe they're a non-wipe.
I mean,
Yeah,
but how
maybe-
do you know it's a ghost poop if you don't wipe?
It's true.
You just feel it and
Well,
hope for the best.
If it's a ghost, I mean, if it's a ghost poop, you know if something came out or not.
Wait, ghost poop.
Ghost
wait,
poop
I think there's
is-
different
it leaves
definitions.
ghost poop
is
leave
when you-
no trail
no.
behind.
I think a ghost poop is when you poop and you look in the bowl and there's nothing
Oh.
there.
Oh yeah. So if you know
See,
that something came out,
Ghost
then
poop to me is you leave no trail behind.
No. Well, then there's
That's
like
gross, Jeremy.
But what about the magic marker? The brown magic marker. That's where you keep wiping in. Never stops.
Or also,
Eric, after the second wipe, if that happens, that's when you go, I got to keep sitting here.
There's
And
another.
eventually there's another chunk in there.
There's something else going.
Yeah,
I keep wiping.
That's the-
It doesn't go away.
that always reminds me of Andy Dwyer when he's at the
There's
doctor
another
getting
piece-
everything fixed.
Another piece
No,
of
there's-
lead in that mechanical pencil.
There also is the fake poops where you think that you have to, and then it's just
Nothing
just a bunch of
happens.
toots.
Yeah, but you know what? If someone else is in the public restroom, you know what? Wash your hands, even just for their sake.
If you're in a
okay?
public restroom, wash your hands.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
What you do in the privacy of your own home, I mean, just wash your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. How did we even get on that?
Because of Disney World.
No, but that something else sparked it before.
No,
I don't really know. Oh, the Great Cornholio.
Oh, that's what it was. TP for his buttonhole. Thank you.
Got it taken care of. I'm glad we figured that mystery out.
That's just a little PSA for Men in a Tub.
Mm-hmm.
A PSA.
A ghost poo. The ghost poo is our
Public
most
service
mysterious poo. Unless you feel it exit, you won't know it exists. Ghost poo are perfect for when you're visiting at friend's house or a party. Leave no trace. The setup for the ghost poo is key and usually begins knowingly with a perfect perch on the throne.
What?
Without a perfect squat, the ghost poo would likely come into contact with the toilet bowl and
That makes
thus
sense.
make a mark.
Makes sense.
I
It's
don't
gotta
Oh,
it's gotta
you're
have
saying
the
it
no,
has no mark.
it's gotta have the nothing
gotta-
to stop it.
Straight to water trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's there's this helpful chart. Let me see here.
But yeah, always sit down if you're wearing khakis. Don't go to the urinal in khakis, people.
You gotta be careful with khakis. You just gotta shake a lot. Let's
No,
see
you got to be careful with that too.
There's the Titanic. The
I think you're
snake,
overthinking
I
it.
guess it depends on how
the
large
deer,
the snake of the shake is.
the floater, the phantom, the explosion, splashback, the submarine, the childbirth.
The splashback, that is a bad one.
The childbirth. It's crowning.
It's funny because we all do.
Oh man. Anyways, bye everyone. Have a sweet dreams and
Have a
a
pleasant weekend.
pleasant
or
tomorrow.
things.